Okay, so like I said, this is a very strange setup. I'm not necessarily used to this setup. So, can you guys all hear me? If you are back, hopefully. All right, so this is what I'm going to show you is Google Classroom. And if you want to play along, you're going to go ahead and join the classroom. This is the classroom code. Okay, to join a classroom, if you've never done this before, okay, looks like we just got one back. We'll wait to see if everyone else can get back on. I'm sorry, this is not the smoothest transition. Okay, well, I guess we'll go ahead and go. So if you'll join the classroom, this is the code to get in the classroom. If you've never joined a classroom before, you're gonna go into what? Hi, whoever's running the KAEA account. I'm trying to help Lynn. She's texting me. So, look, okay, we've got about 4 people left. So go ahead, if you've never joined a classroom before, or if you're really new, if you are in Google Classroom, and if you don't know how to, let me start over. If you've never been in the classroom, okay, this is your apps. So you'll click here and find your classroom key. Okay, so when you're in the classroom, you'll hit join class and add that code that I just posted. So the only purpose for this classroom is to kind of participate and see what it looks like from the student's end. All right, so that you do not have to join, obviously. Oh God. Hey, Kate, I see that you're here. Could you help Lynn? I'm having difficulties focusing and trying to help her at the same time. So once you're in the classroom, I just want to kind of show you what it looks like. There is kind of a stream here. It's a lot like Facebook. So if you're used to Facebook, it's kind of got the same idea. You just kind of put in, and if this is the first time you've ever used Google Classroom, it's going to tell you all about it right here. Okay, so you can read through the tutorials, but you can add posts, and you can also schedule posts. So if you want to like put this every morning or have a quote every day, you could put this in there. So if you would put that in there, you would post. Everyone who has joined the classroom would get an email notification, and then obviously you would see this on your side. Okay, so when you're looking at Google, and if you do miss anything, Facebook does record these, so you're always welcome to go back and watch it again. Okay, so if you miss anything, it'll be archived on the Kansas Art Ed Facebook page. I'm just going to come over here and see if I can. Did we get everybody? Is everyone in? Okay, so it looks like there's about 6 of you. Hopefully, we can get everybody in here. I don't know if Lynn got in or not. Okay, so all right, so go ahead and join. this classroom, if you'd like to play along. All right, hi Laura. And so all right. Okay. So when we're in the classroom, this is a great way to get information to your kids, but I'm going to show you more of the nuts and bolts of what to do when you're in your classroom and how to use Google Docs and slides and things to make your classroom run a little smoother. So I'm just going to show you what I do with my students and what I do for paperwork. I used to, daily participation points is a big deal in my classroom, and I actually stole this idea from my friend Tranda. So this is an assignment that I give my students every week. Now, when Tranda told me that she does it in her room, she lets the kids do it however they want. My kids needed a little more structure, so I actually made this form. Okay, so if you still need the classroom code, this is it. You do not have to join the classroom to get the full benefit of this. Okay, and again, if you miss the beginning or you miss anything, Facebook will archive this and you can always watch it again. Okay. So, okay. Back to this. So this is my main document. Okay, my kids get a copy of this every day. So when I'm in the classroom, I go to classwork and I'm going to create an assignment. This is where you can kind of get some cool stuff going. So I call it their weekly progress. For my own sanity, I always put the date of the week. So yesterday was 11. So, and I call it weekly progress. And it's due every week. Of course, my kids don't remember it, but it's due. You can put a due date on it, which is nice because then it'll email them and remind them. Okay, and a strong thing I would recommend is you create topics in your classroom. For the simple fact is you can go back through later and actually search stuff, which doesn't sound like a big deal right now if you have nothing in there, but when you get a class going over a year, it creates some easy searching deal. Okay, so I'm going to add this file to your guys's, oh, no, I'm not. Oh, guys. It's just going to be one of those things. So the one problem with Google Docs is if you forget which sign-in you're in for your stuff. So give me just a second. I have to share this with myself on Mentor. Because I forgot that I wasn't in my own deal here. Which, if you've got 3, it does make it a little difficult. So that brings me to another little tidbit if you need it. If you are having stuff sent to you, Google Docs, and you want to keep it for your own, you should just make a copy, okay, and name it yourself. So this will put it in your drive. Okay. If you put add it to your drive, I'm not entirely sure that it separates itself from the root document, which I don't like. So I've yet to figure that part out. Okay, so little hiccup. We'll go into our good docs, and this goes straight to your drive. So if you have your worksheet or whatever it is that you want, and I have no idea why it's over here. Now I can't find it. Well, it's bringing up drives for stuff that I'm not sure about. I'm not really sure why it's doing that. So, should be on my drive. Let me see if I can find it. Like with anything else, when you're trying to, just like if you were trying to show your kids, it's never going to go smoothly because you forget stuff. So, why is this not where it's supposed to be? That's the question. There it is. So, why is this not? Okay, so I'm just going to add it to my drive. That'll be easier. Okay, sorry, I apologize. Let's try this again. You can also upload documents. So if I'm in weekly progress, oh my goodness. And this is where I get a little frustrated with Drive sometimes. Because honestly, it should not be this difficult. But it's drawing on the wrong drive. Okay, well, you guys are going to get ceramics vocab because I cannot seem to find the file I want. So here's where it's really important you know how the different little tabs here work. Okay, if you just want the kids to be able to read it and not touch it, you want to put view only. If you want them to edit a document that stays as one, they can edit the root file, you can put can edit. If you want each and every one of them to have a copy and edit individually, you want to put make a copy for each student. Okay, and what this does is it makes a copy for everybody. It's going to create the assignment. Oh, I'm sorry, Laura. Is anybody else's screen fuzzy? Okay. So this is what it looks like. And since I only have one person in this class, it's only going to show me the one assignment. So Shannon, you've got homework. Spencer, that's probably right. I'm currently signed into 3, so my computer is probably really confused. I have 3 Google accounts, so it gets a little confusing. So what it does is I can actually, it'll rename the document, your student's name and the name of your assignment. And you can go in and look and click through all of the assignments that they've done. So that's one way to use Google Docs to give them things that they can all use. Now, what I'd like to show you real quick, I'm going to close some of these tabs, is in what I use it for is grading. Okay, so this is a rubric that I gave my students, very much exactly the same that I just showed you. Everyone got a copy. So what they have to do is they have to go in and they grade themselves. I make sure they do a self-evaluation. So when they go in and they highlight where they think they are on the rubric. Okay, so if they think they're here, they would go in. I don't care what color, as long as it's highlighted, and they turn it in on my side. Okay, so when they're on their side of things, all it says is turn in, and then they can look at that. So what that does is then I can go in as the teacher and I can say, well, yeah, you did do that. It's a 4 or 5. You grade however you want to grade. And it's all done. Okay. When you're in Google Classroom, so if we go back to the assignment that I just posted for Miss Shannon here. Sorry, Shannon. If I go into the classroom, imagine this was that rubric, I can go in and say, well, yeah, you got a 99% and that's your grade, or any comments, I can put good job, or hey, I need clarification, you need to put posts. These are private comments. The only person that can see that is the student. And then you hit return. Okay, so Shannon got a 99 out of 100. It's going back to her. So all of this has been done paperlessly. So what they've done is they've gone in, they've graded themselves, I've given them a grade, and then I return it back to the student, and then you have a list of, whoops, wrong one, of their grades. Okay, so if I had, 25 students, I would have a list of their grades, and I can go in and see who did what, where. Okay, so that's one way I use rubrics for my Google Classroom. It's eliminated a lot of paper because when I first started teaching high school about 10 years ago, we actually handed out paper rubrics to everybody and made them mark on them and write on them via that way. Okay, so what I want to show you now is kind of not about the classroom management part, but about how to make cool stuff in the Slides app. Okay, Slides is, if you didn't know, kind of like PowerPoint, but there's some more stuff you can do with it. So when you're in Slides, you can actually edit the file size or the document size to be an 8.5 by 11, and then have a lot more control over where you want everything to go as opposed to, say, a doc. Okay, so here is a doc. Okay, it's basically a piece of paper. You have your deal. You don't have a whole lot of flexibility. If you're used to things like Publisher or being able to really manipulate the edges, you want something a little different. So if you want a fancy worksheet or you want to just have a little more control, this is what I recommend. And I found this out from another teacher online. So I don't want to say that this was 100% my idea because it totally wasn't. So here's what you do. You go into the file and you go into the page setup. Okay. Now, Google wants you to use this as a slide presentation. Well, that's all good and great, but we don't want to use it. So we're going to do an 8.5 by 11. And that gives us our paper. Okay. And then you can add all sorts of cool stuff to it and change everything exactly how you want it. So if you want pictures and graphics, you can do it that way. This is what I used to do for my classes till I realized my class is a year long and there's no way I'm going to keep up with this. I used to have weekly bell work, which worked great for my middle school kids, but for my high school kids, it just got overwhelming. Okay. But what I didn't want was to build this beautiful, beautiful worksheet or, bell work and then have them, manipulate it. So what you do is you make a digital worksheet or graphic organizer, as I was corrected when I was in school. So you've got all your images, you can really move them around, things like that. Get them the way you want them first. Okay, that's very, very important. Because once it's the way you want it, you can't change it after this next step. So what you do, you get it all beautiful and you're like, this is exactly how I want it. I don't want the kids to mess with it. Okay, you go to download as a JPEG. Okay, it will download. Okay, downloads down here. And here's what you do next. In the same document, you select everything and hit delete. And under slide, you go to change background, choose your image, drag that new image up, and it's going to put your image on the background of that slide so it cannot be manipulated. They can't change anything. They can't say, oh, it's missing or anything like that. Now the trick is, okay, you want them to still be able to edit it. So then what I have done is I would go in and add text boxes for them to edit. So the only things that they can manipulate are the text boxes themselves. I will tell you that you do want to highlight these text boxes and kind of make them a bright color because otherwise they will claim they can't see them and they won't do it. Okay, so there's my text box. This is one I did for my students, and you can see there's the text box. This was great for me because then I could get them color copies, which, as you all know, is impossible to get in a school district, even though we're art people and we want them to talk about art stuff in color. So I could have them do color manipulations and color theory and look at art in color and have them talk about it in color without costing anything to the school district itself. Okay, as far as this is concerned, that was another shape that I just put, and most of the kids know to finish their color wheel, they just had to fill in the colors. Okay, so if you're just checking for information, this is a great tool. Okay, the last thing I want to show you, and then I'd really like to see if anybody's got questions, is what I do with Google Sites. Okay, on the rubric that you saw earlier, my students also get graded for not only their self-evaluation, but if they have their portfolio. Okay, so on our website, we have a list of portfolios for our students. Part of their grade for each of their projects is to put together a portfolio entry into their website. So I'm trying to think which ones would be good ones, but let's see. That's good. It shouldn't matter. Okay, so this is Claude's portfolio. Okay, so they have to have an image and they have to have 5 to 10 sentences talking about their artwork. And so I make all of my students do this, and this is part of their grade. Because we have the Chromebooks and it is so easy to use, it's not difficult. Now, how I get the pictures for them is I have an iPad in my classroom, and it's set up with team drives, which is like a shared a network drive, almost like what they used to do back in the day, that all my students can access. So we upload all the pictures to that, and then they can pull it down onto their websites. Okay, so that's a little bit of what I do with Google Classroom. I would love to hear if anybody's got questions or ideas or anything, because obviously this is a conversation more than anything. So I'll give you guys a few minutes and let's see if we can answer some questions. Oh, am I not? Oh, it didn't. Okay. Did we get the screens figured out? I'm sorry, it wasn't showing that. Doesn't automatically update my feed, unfortunately. I'm sorry that the screens were green. That's very strange. Is everyone else having that issue? How do I teach them? Oh, that brings me to a different point. Okay, so as we all know, students listen amazingly the first time. Here's sarcasm there. So what I do is I show them, and then I've actually created a video. Now, if you have never seen Screencast-O-Matic, it's an amazingly free little tool. And I'm going to see if my computer will let me go to my classroom account real quick. Let's see. I got to find it. That's terrible about having so many. So what I've done is I've actually created a video, okay, so let me back up just a minute. If you create a video either with your smartphone, which I can show you, or with Screencast-O-Matic, which is super easy and you guys will eat it up, you can upload that video file directly into your drives and into your classroom for your students to watch without having to worry about a filter. I just want to throw that out there. So let me see if I can find the video that I showed my students after I made it. Because a lot of them claimed they had no idea what I was talking about after I had shown it to them 4 times. Because, you know, high schoolers. And of course, those of you who are in the know that my organizational skills are not so good. I think I remember how I name stuff and then I can't remember. Okay. So this should be my portfolio prep video. So I post this onto my classroom.
On your portfolio. So first is, if you have a title here, please make sure that it's also titled up here. This is your actual site. So whatever your name is, you need to make sure that you have your name and portfolio in space. Otherwise, it'll be an untitled website. You need to click on the share button. Make sure that it says here, published, that anyone can find it. Okay, that way everyone can see it on our website. And then I need you to add my name, the invite people, so that I can find it.
So obviously this is tailored to my class.
Don't want to change that, that's fine.
Okay, and then it just goes through what I want them to do for the portfolio. And it's really very easy.
If you want your portfolio to count, you have to put the publish button. Otherwise, it's just a rough draft and it's never actually on the internet. All right, get all of these.
Okay, so that is actually on my classroom. They can access it at any time. So once they send me the link, then I can add it to our web page. I hope that helps. Does anybody want to see how Screencast-O-Matic works? Because it's super easy. It is. Oh, I'm sorry that you guys are having weird screen issues. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. So this is prepped. The other thing is, let's see, when you are on, where is it? So sites is actually kind of like down below. Oh, no, it's not here because I use it too much. Sometimes it's down here. Also, I don't know if you guys have this in, oh, yes, I can do this. Screen. Hold on, I'm putting it on O-Matic. And I can show it to you guys too. It's really easy. You don't even have to, download anything unless you really want to. But with the sites, I do want you guys to know some students are on restricted usage. At least some of our students that are in foster care are, which means they can't access sites. I have them do everything on a portfolio in slides instead, just to get them the portfolio experience without having the website because they're not allowed to be public. Okay, so real quick, I'll show you Screencast-O-Matic because it's really easy. Screencast-O-Matic. So literally, you hit the start recording button, and I would push it, but I'm kind of scared it'll crash the whole thing. So if I lose you, come back. Okay, so what it'll do is it'll do a temporary download. It's not super in depth by any means. Oh, it may not show because I only have you guys looking at one screen. Well, booger. Never mind. But when you record your video, it'll give you the option of, come on now, I want to cancel, of either like saving your image or your video or uploading it to YouTube, and I just save mine and put them on the drive because YouTube is blocked. But back to what I was talking about with the slides and the worksheets. If you guys have like an old worksheet that you love to death but don't want to recreate, you can also use that same thing of using an image as a background and the text boxes if you like scan your original worksheet. So if you have one that you're just like, oh my gosh, I want this, I need it, it's really, really good, and it doesn't exist digitally, scan it and you can use it that way. Any other questions? Oh, you really are fuzzy. I have no idea why that's happening. I'm sorry, guys. Let's look at Claude's elephant instead. Are there anything else I can help with Google? I did teach digital portfolios with my middle school kids. I don't know if it's still there. I did the same thing. I had them answer 4 or 5 questions, but what I did differently is I didn't make it public because they were younger. Now, my high school kids, we made all their stuff more or less public. At one point, I was trying to make sure their last names weren't on anything, but unfortunately with Google and the way our Google is set up, it shows their last name regardless of what I try to do. No, when you guys, okay, so Laura, when you're using your Google Classroom, let me see if I can get back to a classroom. Where am I at? This is my school stuff. Okay, so in my school classrooms, okay, at the end of the year, what I would do is I would actually archive it. Okay, and that puts everything in stasis. Basically, it's like putting everything in a folder and throwing it in the closet. You can go back and look at it later, but then you can, I don't know if I have any archive stuff. Oh yeah, so you can look at it later. So this is my last year's student stuff, and I really don't want to go in there because it'll show you their first and last names. For privacy reasons, I can't really go in there. But it keeps everything. So I had kids quarterly at my middle school last year, so every quarter I would start over because then it would give me a clean slate in case I wanted to change stuff. Okay, so no, I archive my classrooms at the end of the year or the end of the class if you have semester or quarterly classes. But all those documents that you created are still there. You can reshare them with your students. Are there any other Google questions or even some technology questions? I'm pretty good with technology, so I can help out. And I'll try to answer them. The great thing about Google and the bad thing when students get to non-saving documents is it does automatically save and it does keep track. So if you have those wily students that oh, I can't get into any of those right now. You can document when everything was turned in. So if they try to tell you it was turned in, oh, so exactly the way I showed you, okay? So if I'm in, let's see here. Okay, so this is, where am I at? All right, so if I'm in the classroom, okay? So this is the classroom I made for tonight. I would just go back in. So like if it was the first week, I would go in, create, this is, not a question, I didn't want that. Materials, okay, I would go and find that drive or that file, and I would just do it again. Okay, so you can also do links. So, or if you have like a folder that you wanted to share, so if I went in and I wanted them to have a whole folder, see, I should be able to do this. Oh, it's not gonna let me. Oh, there's a video you guys can use. Killing basics. You can set that up. Okay. There used to be a way to share whole folders, and then they kind of changed it, which was a little frustrating. So this is like what I gave the kids. This is what you can see. Okay. Let's see. Hi, Mariah. Okay. So it would just be like making new copies for everybody. Are there any other questions? I will say that I use Google Classroom quite a bit. I want to show you real quick. I have a bunch of videos that I've recorded using my smartphone, and then I just upload them on the drive from my phone. And so when my kids need something that either I'm going to repeat myself 6 times a day, so I just record it because I hate repeating myself, or if I'm not going to be there, or if I want to be able to show them again, I just upload it and then I put this on their classroom so that they can have access to it as many times as they want. I hope that helped, Laura. If not, you can always feel free to email me if you have any other questions. Does anybody else have questions? Now, I will say Google Classroom is really only usable for middle school and high school. Matthew, I haven't really had any parent feedback on that. I've only been in my district for 2 years, and then I switched schools from one year to the next. So I haven't had too much feedback. I have had students come back and tell me, oh, I couldn't wait to go home and show my parents. So I haven't had feedback from the parents, but I really believe it's important for them to have that portfolio, even if maybe not anybody's looking at it, especially for the kids that may be going into art. I mean, I think it's cool. Now, when I taught elementary, we did a lot with Artzonia, and we got a lot of parent feedback on that. I think it just takes a few years for people to catch on, honestly. And on their portfolio, I do grade them whether or not it's a picture, whether or not they have their full statement, things like that. Ideally, that they would, work on that a little harder. oh. Yes. Yeah. Definitely, if you had kids for more than 2-3 years, you would hopefully see some growth. Sorry, I'm referring to Matthew's comment about collecting images and seeing growth. Definitely. So, like the kids that I had last year who were 8th graders that are now freshmen, they now have 2 portfolios because I made them start a new one for the freshman year. So they can see big differences. And any kids I have next year, we might just reorganize their website to show the new stuff for next year. So yeah, it's a great growth tool, which if like in Kansas, a portfolio or a collection of growth pictures like that does count as student growth measures. At least that's what Joyce Huser has told me at the state level. So these portfolios would count for that checkbox. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a few more minutes to ask any more questions. comments, concerns, thank you for coming. This has been a very successful mentor talk, I hope. I look forward to doing these some more. Hopefully, if you have comments or you want a topic to talk about, we will be looking for experts, or even if you have a topic that you would like to discuss with other art teachers. We're always looking for people willing to come hang out with us, basically. I don't know if I can switch back. Nope. You guys just get a look at my screen. Oh, you're welcome, Laura. Thank you for joining me.